guys, it's Miss Adams again. We're still continuing on with 6B test review. We're now on problem 14. So we're getting into now doing completing the square. This is where we convert from standard form to vertex form. And then we're going to identify the vertex and the y-intercept. So some really important things about standard and vertex form. With standard form, this tells us what our y-intercept is. Our c value in standard form is your y-intercept. Vertex form will give us our vertex. So the negative h and k gives you the vertex from vertex form. So we already should know what the y-intercepts are for both of these problems. So for problem A, it tells us that our c value is 7. So therefore our y-intercept for this function is going to be 0, because anytime you have a y-intercept, your x value is 0, 7. And then the ordered pair for B, for your y-intercept, we have a -3 as our c value. So that ordered pair for the y-intercept is going to be 0, -3. So now let's get into the meat of this. We're going to solve these by completing the square. So looking at A, when we want to complete the square, we're going to have to find this special term, our b/2 squared term, okay? So looking at this, I'm going to isolate my variable terms first. So we're going to leave that constant on the outside for now. And we're going to have to find this special term here. I'm going to represent that special term by a box. So whenever you see a box, it's going to be our new completed form of the square. Okay, so we have x squared plus 6x plus our unknown here. And on the outside, we still have plus 7. And if I add something on the inside, I'm going to have to subtract it on the outside. So we're also going to subtract our unknown from the outside of this function. Because remember, we're trying to get to vertex form, where vertex form is x plus h squared and then plus k. So y equals x plus h squared plus k. And so let's continue writing on here. Let's solve for our b/2 squared term. So in this case, looking at this function, our b value on the inside of the parentheses is 6. So we're going to use that. We're going to say 6 divided by 2 squared. This is going to give us what goes in those boxes in the function here. So 6/2 squared. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I'm going to do 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. So this is our new completed squared term. But now we want to simplify this until it gets to vertex form, which is y equals, let's see, x minus h squared plus k, right? And also in vertex form, remember, you can have an a value on the outside. That means that you're just multiplying whatever's inside the parentheses by some number here. Okay, so let's go back to where we had just solved for 9 as our completed square form. And we want to get our standard form to look like our vertex form here. So we've got to know what we have to subtract or add from x here. In order to do that, we have this term, this b/2 term. So in this case, it's the number 3. Okay? I'm going to use that 3 inside my parentheses now. So I'm going to have x plus 3 squared. Then on the outside, I'm going to have 7 minus 9, which simplifies to -2. So that is our new vertex form, okay? And the vertex from that is our -hk. So I'm going to say -3, -2. And that is the vertex from this standard form converted to vertex form using completed the square. Let's look at another example. So we're looking at example B. We're going to still isolate our variable terms and leave that constant on the outside. But looking at this, notice that we're not starting off with just x squared. We now have a 2x squared plus 8x. We've got to take out a greatest common factor, numerical common factor from those two. 2 can go into both 2x squared and go into 8x. So I am going to remove 2 from my parentheses. So that means I'm going to divide both of those values by 2. So inside my parentheses now I have x squared plus 4x. So this changes our b value plus my unknown. But realize this unknown is being multiplied by the 2 on the outside of the parentheses. So when I rewrite my outside terms, I've got minus 3. I'm also going to have to subtract, got to multiply it by 2, and that's my unknown square there. So let's solve for it. So my b value, like I just said, was 4. So I'm going to have 4 divided by 2 squared. 4 over 2, or 4 divided by 2, is just 2. And 2 squared is 4. So 4 is going to be our unknown term that goes back into the equation. And this 2, this b over 2 value, is what we're going to use as our new h value. So when I'm rewriting this equation from standard form to vertex form, I'm going to have 2 multiplied by x plus this 2 coming from our b over 2. Rewrite that real quick. And that value is going to be squared. And then let's simplify the outside here. So I've got negative 3 minus 2 times 4. That's negative 3 minus 8. That's the same thing as saying negative 3 plus a negative 8, which is going to give us minus 11. So our vertex form here is 2 times x plus 2 squared minus 11. And the vertex from this, our negative h is going to, so this is a positive 2 on the inside of the parentheses. It's going to become negative 2. And we're going to be left with negative 11 as our k value.